No one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. Just get up. Move towards the challenge. Whatever that challenge is, move towards that challenge and go attack it. And you may be successful and you may not be successful, but you will be better. When every boy realizes no one's coming to save him, that's when he becomes a man. And some boys never get there and stay children forever. Nobody cares about you. And I mean that in the most positive, optimistic, inspiring, motivating way. You think that everybody's paying attention, and because of that, it kind of controls how you think. And the reality is everybody is so focused on themselves in this world. Nobody has time for you. Look around you. There was no team. It was you. There was no weight loss program or mom and dad waking you up, saying you can do it, you can be better, trying to build belief. You built belief when you had nothing. I found myself in a place that I just never envisioned I would be. I would wake up every morning just pinned to the bed with anxiety, and I became somebody that I barely recognized. And, you know, the thing that's interesting about being stuck in life is that the fact is, you know what you need to do. That's the easy part. It's the how. How do you make yourself do what you need to do when you are scared or overwhelmed or anxious or hopeless or depressed or any of the stuff that happens to you as a human? That's the 100 million question. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself. You've got to push yourself. You're not going to make your dreams come true. You're just not. We're not wired that way. You weren't born that way. You weren't that way when you were growing up. And you're certainly not that way as an adult. And there's a tremendous amount of liberation that comes when you accept the fact that you're always going to need to give yourself a push. We don't want to be left alone by ourselves with ourselves. So we come in and we sit down and we get on our phone, or we turn on the TV, or we go wherever, we do whatever, because we don't want to face the reality of being by ourselves with ourselves. Start making yourself a companion that you're comfortable with and become comfortable in your own skin. I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. You know, if you're going to create anything of value in this life, even if it's with other people, you're going to have to be willing to be on your own for a bit, to forge on your own, to take walks alone. I just have bad news for everybody. Nobody cares that you don't have time to practice. Nobody cares that you didn't grow up with money. Nobody cares that you came from a bad neighborhood. Nobody cares about your problems. Stop with the pity party. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And remember, no one is going to save you but you. Save yourself. It seems like my version of personal development requires me to fall into a hole or dig one. And then I realize nobody's coming to rescue me. And if I want to get out of the hole, I'm going to need to build a freaking ladder. It doesn't sound good to say that you're in control, that nobody's coming to save you. But that's what works. And so if you take Kobe Bryant's advice, which is that booze don't block dunks, and the idea that you can get so good at something that people can't stop you from succeeding. And I promise you, every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success. But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, it's that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. First of all, nobody is coming. I mean, if you've been sitting around waiting for somebody to discover you, to pick you, to save you, to rescue you, to give you your shot, it's not happening. At some point, you got to wake up and realize when you're 18 and you're out of that house, you have to parent yourself. Your life is your responsibility. No one is going to save you. We can't do this for you. This journey predominantly must come from you. It's not what other people think, it's your life. But if it's your life, you got to be willing to pay the price. There are going to be seasons in your life where nobody is coming. Nobody's coming to support you. Nobody's coming to help you. Nobody's coming to save you. No one is coming to rescue you. You're going to pull yourself out of the pit of misery and put the work in. Everything about it is accountability. Everything about it is self-discipline. Everything about it is no one's going to save you. No one's going to come out of the woods and say, hey, I got your back, man. I want to take you from all this. I got to do it all on my own now. But that's the truth. I had to do it on my own. Just like he did. You got to do it on your own. Sometimes you just have to have the ability to save yourself. I'm not going to say it was easy, because it wasn't. But I had to learn it. You have to take your own responsibility. No one's going to save you. You have to do it. You got to learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights and these battles, you got to be your own coach. You got to be your own motivator. You got a long journey ahead of you, because you're going to find out that while your dad did a lot to you, you're going to have to make it on your own. You have to look at your own life. And you have to realize, okay, you either have to change yourself or you got to make everybody else wrong. You got to look at your own life and go, what do I need to change so I can be successful? And people don't want to do that. It's easier to try to make the other person wrong. Me, really, because I don't care about being solitary. I don't care about being on my own. And I don't care about taking risks, because for a very long time, I was in any case on my own, and everything was a risk. Going to school was a risk. Going out for lunch was a risk, or whatever. People struggle to do things alone. And the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people. And rather than fighting that or bemoaning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place. Because it means you're just like everyone else. And that's not where you want to be. You have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you. So you're going to feel the pain of being ostracized from the group of friends that you used to have, but you're stuck in this messy middle where you haven't yet worked out who you are on the other side of this. And that lonely chapter that's in the middle is something that I would say almost nobody that I've ever met who has gone from a place where they are to a place where they want to be hasn't gone through. You have to make that start. You have to separate yourself from the pack. You have to be willing to spend time with yourself. You have to sacrifice. I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one's going to miracle me to be somebody special. All my situations were on me now. It's solely on me. It's close to 300 in the morning right now. The thing is, man, it's always going to be a party. There's always going to be a time to celebrate and a time to join friends. And I mean, the bars are always open, always open. No matter how old you are, they're always open, you know. What's not always open is the opportunity to check the box in life, you know, to achieve your dreams. That's not always open. I'm talking about right now. The small steps in between the big successes everyone sees. No one sees this right now. I'm saying, like, there's a confidence to it, man. There's a bad motherfucker that's right here. You know, that's getting ahead of the competition. There's an overwhelming sense of fulfillment and pride and satisfaction with that. Successful people have mastered the art of spending time alone. When I get time with myself and I get in my head and I get in my heart and I understand my behaviors and my belief systems and my parameters and what I need to do and how I need to sow and where I need to send my energy and how I need to execute in the day, it's a superpower. When you spend that time alone and you can think and you can pray and you can meditate and everybody's not in your mix, you're able to grow something. Spending time alone is the only place where you get to have these conversations. And most of us are spending time away from being alone because we're scared of having these conversations. The challenge today is that we think that there's only one word for being alone, and we call it loneliness. We've forgotten about a second word. It's called solitude. Solitude and loneliness externally look the same, but they're completely different things. Solitude is the strength of being alone, and loneliness is the weakness. I don't respect a whole bunch of people, but the few that I did respect are the people who were uncommon amongst uncommon people. And what that means is those people who weren't afraid to stand alone. I'm very comfortable in my own head. I'm very comfortable alone for hours at a time, for days at a time. The one companion that's always going to be with you is yourself. No one's coming. No one. There comes a moment in every life when the noise of excuses starts to fade and the voice of truth begins to rise. That voice doesn't shout, it doesn't lecture. It simply whispers a reality that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. The whisper says, this is on you. It's not on your parents. It's not on your environment. It's not on your past. It's not on your education, your boss, or your bank account. It's on you. That is where everything begins. That moment of ownership, that quiet but firm acceptance of personal responsibility is the exact moment the doors to real change start to open. You cannot improve a life you do not take responsibility for. You cannot steer a ship you keep blaming the wind for. You cannot rewrite a story you claim someone else is still holding the pen to. People spend years waiting for better circumstances, better leaders, better luck. But the people who grow, the ones who rise, they don't wait. They wake up. They look around and say, all right, this is where I am. It's not perfect. It may not even be fair. But if it's going to change, it starts with me. That's where maturity begins. That's where strength is born. It doesn't take a miracle. It doesn't take a genius. It takes responsibility. It takes the courage to say, I am the reason this is happening, and I am the reason it can change. Most people never reach this level of thinking. It's easier to blame. Blame gives comfort. Blame gives you a villain, and if you have a villain, you don't have to act. If someone else is responsible, you get to sit back and complain. But what people don't realize is that blame is a prison. The more you use it, the smaller your world becomes. You're waiting for someone else to fix what only you can fix. You're surrendering your power without even knowing it. The very thing you think protects you is what's keeping you stuck. But when you break free from that mindset, when you stop saying, it's not my fault, and start asking, what can I do? You begin to unlock a strength you didn't even know you had. You begin to see that power was in your hands the entire time. Not the power to control the world, but the power to respond to it. The power to rise above it. The power to take what you were given and build something better from it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that's gone wrong. It means owning your ability to change direction. It means choosing to learn instead of complain. It means deciding that no matter who did what, you still get to choose your next move. That is where growth begins. That is where confidence is built, not from perfection, but from ownership. The more responsibility you take, the more control you gain. The more control you gain, the more peace you feel. Because suddenly, your life is not a reaction. It becomes a creation. Your creation, it's not always easy. It's not always fair. But it is always worth it. Because when you take responsibility, you stop waiting for a better future and start building it. You stop asking who's coming to help and start becoming the person who helps. You stop running from the work and start running toward it. You stop hiding behind excuses and start standing on principles. You stop being a victim of your story and start becoming the author of it. Responsibility is not a burden. It's a gift. It's the moment you stop being dragged through life and start directing it. It's the moment you stop hoping someone will save you and realize you don't need saving. You need structure. You need clarity. You need action. You need vision. And none of that begins until you say, this is mine to fix. This is mine to build. This is mine to change. Everything else flows from that decision. Without it, you're simply drifting, wishing, reacting. But with it, you're creating, leading, evolving. The moment you choose to take full ownership of your life, regardless of the pain or the past, you step into the kind of power that can change everything. Not overnight, not without struggle, but with certainty, with focus, with a direction that only belongs to someone who has stopped waiting and has started taking command of their life. There is a truth that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. A truth that stings the ego but frees the mind. That truth is this: nobody owes you anything. Not the world, not your parents, not your friends, not your government, not your company, not even your past sacrifices. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you stop living in frustration and start living in clarity. When you walk through life with the belief that something is owed to you, you walk with a weight that was never meant to be carried. You wait for help that's never coming. You expect rewards you haven't earned. You resent others for not giving you what you think you deserve. And that resentment becomes a trap. People move through life angry at the world for being indifferent. But the world is not unfair because it ignores you. It is neutral. It responds to effort. It reflects behavior. It rewards discipline. But it does not deliver favors. You see people succeeding and think, why not me? The real question is, what did they do that I didn't? The world doesn't choose favorites. It responds to value. It responds to habits. It responds to work. It responds to initiative. But it does not respond to entitlement. The people who rise in life are not the ones waiting for life to treat them right. They're the ones who figured out early on that life doesn't hand out comfort, it hands out consequences. And the only way to change the consequence is to change the behavior. Nobody is going to come knock on your door and say, here's the life you dreamed of. Nobody is going to hand you confidence, discipline, or clarity. Nobody is coming to motivate you every morning. Nobody is going to teach you how to be financially responsible, emotionally mature, or mentally strong unless you go out and seek it. That's the harsh truth. But it's also the most freeing truth, because when you stop expecting others to lift you, you finally realize you had the strength all along. You just never used it because you were too busy waiting. Most people never break free from this illusion. They grow up being told that someone else will solve their problems. If not today, then tomorrow. If not this person, then the next. Maybe the right mentor will show up. Maybe a miracle will happen. Maybe a politician will fix it. Maybe someone will finally recognize their talent. But those maybes are nothing more than illusions disguised as hope. And illusions don't build results. They build disappointment. Because the longer you wait, the further you fall behind. And every day spent waiting is a day lost. People want success without pressure, wealth without risk, change without discomfort. But life doesn't operate on those terms. Life respects those who take initiative. It rewards those who push forward when no one is watching, those who study in silence, practice in private, struggle in the shadows. You're not owed applause for trying. You're not owed praise for effort. You're owed exactly what you earn, nothing more, nothing less. And that's what makes the process real. That's what makes the success meaningful, because it's not handed to you. It's claimed. Now ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the right time, the right support, the right opportunity? Because if you are, understand this: the clock is ticking and the world is not pausing. The people who move ahead are not the ones who have everything figured out. They are the ones who took action anyway. They made the mistakes. They faced the failure. They stumbled, but they learned. They didn't wait for someone to tell them it was okay. They decided it was time. And then they moved. You have everything you need to begin. But nothing will happen until you stop looking outward for permission and start looking inward for responsibility. You can't build a strong life on weak expectations. You can't become powerful by leaning on the hope that someone else will lead you. The people you admire didn't get there because someone owed them. They got there because they stopped asking what the world would give them and started asking what they could give the world. That shift in mindset is where all progress begins. Nobody owes you a second chance. Nobody owes you a better childhood. Nobody owes you healing. Nobody owes you understanding, but you owe it to yourself to rise above your circumstances. You owe it to yourself to become more, learn more, do more. You owe it to yourself to build a life that doesn't depend on someone else showing up. You're not a victim unless you choose to be. And every day you choose to wait, you are choosing to stay stuck. The only rescue coming is the one you launch with your own effort, your own discipline, your own mindset. That's the real freedom. Knowing that you don't need to be chosen. You just need to choose yourself. The life you are living today, the routine you wake up to, the people you surround yourself with, the work you do, the mindset you operate from, all of it is a result of the choices you've made over time. Whether those choices were conscious or unconscious, intentional or reactive, they built the reality you now live in. People often underestimate the power of choice, thinking that it's the big moments that define them, but it's not. It's the small decisions, repeated consistently, that determine the direction of your life. You didn't arrive at your current situation overnight, and you won't escape it overnight either. But the truth is this: if you want something different, you have to choose something different every time you hit the snooze button. Instead of getting up, you're choosing short-term comfort over long-term growth. Every time you spend when you should be saving, you're choosing short-term pleasure over future security. Every time you say yes to distractions, you're saying no to your goals. Life doesn't care about what you intended. It responds to what you actually do. You may want success. You may want discipline. You may want clarity. But if your choices don't reflect that, your reality never will either. Wanting is not enough. Hoping is not enough. Action is the only vote that counts. It's easy to look around and blame circumstances. It's easy to point to your upbringing, your environment, or your past failures. But at the end of the day, your decisions are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And if you're not willing to take ownership of those decisions, you'll keep circling the same problems with different excuses. That's what most people do. They say they want change, but keep making the same choices that built the very life they're trying to escape. They're attached to their patterns, but frustrated with the outcomes. There's a gap between who you are and who you could become. That gap is filled with decisions, not dreams, not talk, not blame, just decisions. Decisions to do the hard thing, to let go of comfort, to stay disciplined when nobody's watching, to delay gratification when shortcuts look tempting. These choices don't feel significant in the moment. Waking up early once doesn't change your life. Saying no to one unhealthy meal won't transform your body. Reading one chapter won't make you wise. But do these small things consistently and you'll start to feel a shift. That's how real growth happens. Quietly, gradually, and only through repeated right choices. The danger is in the delay. Every day you delay a better choice, you reinforce the current one. You train your mind to accept mediocrity, to tolerate procrastination, to normalize weakness. And once that becomes your default, changing course becomes harder. Not impossible, but harder, because the brain loves patterns. It finds comfort in repetition, even if that repetition is destroying you. That's why change is uncomfortable. You're fighting not just your circumstances, but your habits, your instincts, your excuses. But here's the good news. Once you start making better choices, even if they're small, momentum begins to build. Momentum is powerful. It doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from consistent alignment between your actions and your intentions. That's what builds integrity. That's what builds confidence. Every time you make a choice that aligns with the person you want to become, you cast a vote for that version of yourself. And the more votes you cast, the more real that version becomes. People talk about identity like it's fixed, but it's not. Identity is shaped by action. Who you are is not determined by what you believe about yourself, but by what you consistently do. If you want to be disciplined, make disciplined choices. If you want to be wise, make learning choices. If you want to be strong, make uncomfortable choices. If you want to be free, make responsible choices. There's no shortcut. There's no other path. The only way out is through. And the road forward is paved with choices that feel inconvenient in the moment, but bring rewards in the long run. Everyone wants a better life until they realize that a better life requires better habits. Better habits require better decisions. And better decisions require a willingness to reject the easy path. The power is already in your hands. It always has been. You don't need permission to change. You don't need ideal conditions. You don't need perfect timing. You just need to decide that the old way is no longer acceptable, and then follow through, one decision at a time. Because no matter how stuck you feel, no matter how long you've been off course, you are never more than one decision away from a new direction. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the next right one. and then repeat it over and over until the results speak for themselves, until your actions are louder than your excuses, until your reality begins to match your vision. Success has always been misunderstood by those who watch it from the outside. To many, it looks like a reward granted to a lucky few, a gift handed down by fate, a handout from circumstances or connections. But those who have actually climbed the mountain know the truth. They know that success is a solo climb, not because others won't cheer you on, not because people won't support you in some way, but because no one else can climb for you. No one else can carry your discipline. No one else can grind through your habits. No one else can do the push-ups, read the books, face the silence, or conquer the daily battles that shape the person you're becoming. The path to success is personal. It's built in private, long before it's celebrated in public. You don't see the sacrifices, the early mornings, the nights of doubt, the self-control it takes to keep moving forward when quitting looks easy and comfort keeps calling. The real work is invisible. It doesn't show up on social media. It doesn't ask for validation. It doesn't need applause. It just needs repetition. And repetition is lonely. It means choosing what's right over what's popular. It means turning down distractions while everyone else is indulging. It means being misunderstood, doubted, even ridiculed. While you build in silence, people are quick to admire the success they see in others, but they rarely study the process behind it. They see the results, the lifestyle, the recognition, and assume it was always there, or at least that it came with help. But the truth is that help may appear, support may come, but it cannot carry the weight of your vision. No mentor, no book, no program can replace the discipline you must carry on your own. They can guide you, they can inspire you, but the execution is yours alone. That's the price of growth. That's the price of becoming uncommon in a world that celebrates comfort. There will be seasons where no one believes in you. There will be days where no one checks in, where no one claps for your effort, where no one tells you you're on the right path. And if your motivation depends on validation, you will never make it. You have to learn to encourage yourself. You have to learn to speak strength to your own weakness, to remind yourself why you started, to stand even when no one else is standing with you. That inner fire, that personal commitment, that's what separates the serious from the spectators. Most people only move when someone is watching. The ones who win are the ones who move when no one is. You don't get to delegate discipline. You don't get to outsource effort. You can't send someone else to the gym for you. You can't hire someone to read your books, face your fears, or rewrite your mindset. You've got to do the work every single day, even when it's boring, especially when it's boring. Success isn't built on one big moment. It's built on 1,000 small ones. 1,000 choices to stay focused, to stay sharp, to stay committed to a standard that most people aren't willing to hold. That's why so few get there. It's not that it's impossible. It's that it's uncomfortable. And people will do almost anything to avoid discomfort. But if you're willing to face it, to embrace it, you'll find a strength most people never tap into. This is not about isolation. It's not about rejecting help when it's offered. It's about understanding that even with help, you still have to do your part. That even with the best tools, you still have to build the foundation. That even with all the motivation in the world, none of it matters if you don't take action. The climb is yours. The habits are yours. The late nights and early mornings are yours. And the rewards, when they come, will belong to you not because someone handed them to you, but because you earned every step. The higher you go, the fewer people will understand your pace. They'll ask why you work so hard, why you don't take breaks, why you turn down so many invitations. They won't understand until they see what you were building. But by then, the distance between you and their level of comfort will be clear. Not because you wanted to be better than anyone, but because you wanted to be better than you were yesterday. And that drive, that mindset, that hunger to climb alone is what makes the view at the top so meaningful. Real success demands independence of thought, control over emotion, and responsibility for action. It's not about ego. It's not about superiority. It's about doing what needs to be done even when no one tells you to do it. It's about making decisions based on vision, not emotion. It's about understanding that growth doesn't happen when you're surrounded by comfort. It happens when you step away from the crowd, when you walk uphill alone, when you choose discipline over ease, not once, but again and again. And that path, the path that few are willing to walk, is the only path that leads to becoming everything you were meant to be. Hope is a beautiful thing, but it's not a strategy. Wishing for things to get better, imagining a future filled with success, waiting for the perfect opportunity to arrive, none of it brings results until it's backed by action. Hope feels good. It gives temporary comfort, but it doesn't build anything. And luck, while it may strike from time to time, cannot be counted on. You can't build a meaningful life on a roll of the dice. You can't plan your future around a maybe. What separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is not how much they hope, but how much they execute. It's not about how many ideas they have, but how consistently they follow through. Discipline is what transforms your goals from dreams into reality. It is the structure that holds everything else together. Without discipline, motivation fades. Without discipline, ambition collapses. Without discipline, knowledge goes unused. The truth is, most people know what they need to do. They don't lack information. They lack follow through. They don't need another breakthrough moment of inspiration. They need daily discipline, quiet consistency, and the willingness to do the boring work over and over again. The champions of any field, whether it's business, health, leadership, or personal development, aren't always the most talented. They are the most disciplined. They are the ones who keep showing up when others quit. They are the ones who do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like doing it. They don't wait for the mood to be right, for the stars to align, or for someone to tell them it's time. They decide once and then commit daily. That's what makes them unstoppable. Not their speed, not their gifts, but their refusal to stop moving forward, no matter how small the steps may be. Consistency is often misunderstood. People think it means perfection, but it doesn't. It means you keep going even after a bad day. It means you get back up after failure. It means you do what you said you were going to do, even when the excitement is gone. Most people start strong, but finish weak because they rely too much on motivation. They wait to feel ready. But discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It only asks if you're willing. Are you willing to do it tired? Are you willing to do it uncertain? Are you willing to do it even when the results are not immediate? That's what separates winners from wishers. Winners work through the discomfort. Wishers wait for comfort to return. You can look around and see people getting ahead and wonder how they did it. You can question their timing, their luck, their circumstances. But more often than not, what you're really seeing is someone who built a system and followed it. You're seeing the outcome of someone who put in the reps while you were waiting for motivation. You're seeing the fruits of patience, focus, and repetition, because nothing great is built in a day, and nothing lasting is built without consistency. Hope can get you started. It's the spark. It gives you a vision of what's possible. But it's not enough to dream. If dreams alone made a difference, the world would be full of high achievers. The graveyard is full of people who had big dreams, but never developed the habits to bring them to life. Discipline is the difference between the life you imagine and the life you live. It's the reason you wake up early when you'd rather sleep. It's the reason you say no to distractions that offer temporary pleasure but permanent regret. It's the reason you keep your word to yourself, which is the foundation of all confidence. There's something powerful about doing the right thing, especially when no one's watching. That quiet integrity builds inner strength. It builds character. When you say, I'll do it, and you do it again and again, that's where trust in yourself begins. And when you trust yourself, you don't need as much external validation. You don't need to constantly be motivated because you've trained your mind to obey your decisions, not your emotions. That's what discipline does. It turns you into the kind of person who follows through, no matter the mood, the weather, or the situation. Success is boring to most people because it's repetitive. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's the same routines, the same habits, the same choices repeated daily. And that's why most people don't stick with it. They want fireworks. They want fast results. They want excitement. But success doesn't grow in excitement. It grows in patience. It grows in repetition. It grows in the days that feel ordinary, where nothing seems to be changing, but you show up anyway, knowing that every rep counts, every effort compounds, and every small win builds the foundation for something greater. Discipline and consistency are not for the lucky. They are for the committed. They are tools you develop, muscles you strengthen. You don't wait for them to appear. You cultivate them through practice, through sacrifice, through the willingness to put long-term gain over short-term pleasure. Every time you choose discipline, you place a brick in the structure of your future. Every time you act with consistency, you reinforce the foundation of your success. And over time, those bricks and that foundation become a fortress no circumstance can shake. Not because you hoped it would happen, but because you made it happen through relentless, steady action. So many people move through life waiting for the right mentor, the perfect opportunity, the lucky break, the right relationship, the moment when everything finally clicks. They wait for a voice of reassurance, someone to show them the path, someone to tell them that now is the time. They wait for circumstances to improve, for motivation to return, for their fears to disappear. And in that waiting, they delay their own growth, they postpone their own power, and they ignore the one truth that changes everything. No one is coming. If you've been waiting for someone to lead you, to fix you, to inspire you, it's time to realize that you are the one you've been waiting for. There comes a point when you have to stop looking outside yourself for permission to live with intention. The world doesn't hand out empowerment. It doesn't knock on your door with purpose, passion, and direction. That has to be built, and the raw materials are already inside you. You don't need someone else to activate them. You need to decide. Decide that you are no longer going to be a spectator in your own story. Decide that you will not let another year go by blaming people, situations, or timing. The moment you decide that your life is your responsibility is the moment you reclaim every ounce of power you've been giving away. We grow up thinking someone else will do it for us. Someone else will lead. Someone else will protect. Someone else will tell us we're good enough. But as you move through life, you begin to realize that people are dealing with their own battles, their own doubts, their own limitations. They're not thinking about saving you. Most are just trying to stay afloat. And that's not a reason to feel abandoned. It's a reason to wake up, because the life you want won't be handed to you. It must be built from within, one decision at a time, one courageous action at a time, one mindset shift at a time. It doesn't matter what they didn't teach you growing up. It doesn't matter who failed to support you, who doubted you, who left you behind. What matters is what you choose to do now. What matters is the story you tell yourself from this moment forward. Are you the victim or are you the architect? Are you going to keep waiting for a savior, or are you going to become your own leader? These are not small questions. They are defining questions. And the way you answer them will shape the rest of your life. You have to become the one who inspires yourself, the one who pushes yourself, the one who holds yourself accountable. Because if you don't, who will? If you don't build discipline, no one else can give it to you. If you don't develop vision, no one else can see it for you. If you don't take action, no one else can act on your behalf. That's what becoming the person you've been waiting for means. It means you stop asking for direction and start walking. It means you stop begging for clarity and start creating it through movement, through mistakes, through experience. Most people live in delay. They think they need more time, more knowledge, more confidence. But confidence doesn't precede action. It follows it. You don't get stronger by waiting to feel strong. You get stronger by stepping up even when you feel uncertain. And with every step, you prove to yourself that you don't need to be saved. You just need to start. Start small, start messy, start afraid. Just start. Because once you do, you begin to realize that the power was never outside you. It was waiting to be activated, waiting to be chosen. The longer you wait for someone to lead you, the longer you delay your own leadership, the longer you wait for someone to speak truth into you, the longer you avoid speaking it into yourself. You don't have to be perfect to begin. You don't need every answer. You don't need the ideal environment. You need the willingness to move forward, to fall and get up, to be uncomfortable and stay committed. That's what transformation looks like. It's not instant. It's not glamorous, but it's real. And it starts when you stop looking around and start looking within. Everything changes when you stop trying to be rescued and start building your own ladder. When you stop hoping someone will show you how and start figuring it out. When you stop searching for heroes and start becoming one. That shift in mindset turns hesitation into action, confusion into clarity, fear into momentum. You don't need to wait to be more ready, more confident, more supported. You need to start moving and let the strength develop along the way. Growth doesn't come from waiting. It comes from decide to lead yourself. Decide to take the hard path. Decide to do what you said you would do. Decide to be your own answer. The people who change their lives are the ones who get tired of waiting. They don't wait for everything to be perfect. They rise in the midst of chaos. They act in the presence of fear. They move in the absence of support because they've realized something powerful, that no one is coming. So they become the ones who come through for themselves, who rise for themselves, who build not because they were told to, but because they refuse to live another day waiting for someone else to do what they were born to do themselves. At some point, you have to face the truth that changes everything. No one is coming to save you. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when things calm down. The life you want, the goals you've written down, the transformation you imagine, it's all waiting on you. You can keep wishing, keep blaming, keep stalling, or you can start taking ownership of your future. Personal responsibility isn't a burden, it's the gateway to power. Once you stop expecting the world to carry you, you realize you already have legs strong enough to walk, to run, to climb. Nobody owes you anything. And that's not a curse. It's a call to freedom. If no one owes you, then you are free to build what you want, to decide what your life becomes. Your choices, not your circumstances, are the tools that shape your reality. Every habit, every action, every decision is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. And if you're brave enough to make the right choices consistently, you'll see your reality begin to shift. Not overnight, but over time. There are no shortcuts. There are no handouts. Success is not gifted, it's earned. It's a lonely climb built on unseen discipline and quiet repetition. The ones who reach the top are not those who waited, but those who worked, those who moved forward in silence, those who stayed committed when no one clapped, no one noticed, and no one believed but them. Hope is a seed, but discipline is the root. Consistency is the water. Without these, hope dies where it stands. The life you want is not built on moments of inspiration. It's built on months of intention. You don't rise by luck. You rise by refusing to quit. You rise by showing up again and again when most people would have stopped. And in the end, what matters most is that you become the person you've been waiting for, the leader of your own life, the one who steps up when it's uncomfortable, who acts when it's uncertain, who stands strong when no one else does. No one is coming. That's not a reason to fear. It's a reason to rise. Because when you realize you are all you need to begin, that's when you truly begin to become unstoppable